Welcome back to another amazing episode of Destination Morocco podcast. In today's episode, we have a special guest that have been to Morocco very recently, and she came back with a lot of memories, and her name is Kyle. So Kyle, welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for being a guest. And I'm really, really intrigued and very interested about your story and how you got to Morocco. So if you want to tell the audience a little bit, please, Kyle.
Okay, thanks, Azdean. It's lovely to be with you. My story is a little interesting in that I wasn't able to travel for many, many years because I had chronic health issues that made travel impossible. And a few years ago when I tried, and I was feeling very hopeless, my health was really bad. And I just said to myself, if I ever get to travel someplace again, I think I'm supposed to go to Morocco. And I should say that I didn't know anything about Morocco.
Oh, wow.
It was just like this feeling, it's like it came through to me that it was supposed to be Morocco. The only thing I really knew was that I loved Moroccan design. I'm an interior designer, and so I've always loved Moroccan design and the colors and from what I had seen. So anyway, my health slowly started to get better. And the other thing about my story is that the holidays, I've had a lot of loss in my life, and the holidays can be a very grief-filled time. And 2 years ago, I decided I'm going to travel on Christmas to change my sadness about the holidays, just turn it into something that I get to look forward to. So my first trip a year ago was to Puerto Rico. But then this year I was like, okay, I think this is the year I go to Morocco. And so I decided this time to actually fly on Christmas Day. And I got to Morocco on the 26th. It was just very exciting, a very meaningful solo trip. I have older brothers, and they knew I was going to be traveling alone. And they're like, Kyle, we really would like you to get a guide and a driver. And I was like, I don't want a guide and a driver. I want to just fumble my way through and find, just mess up and get lost. And they were really, really pressuring me about this. And so finally I was like, okay, I will do that. And then I had been searching for podcasts about Morocco. And as you know, I only had a month lead up time, I think.
Yes.
And I've heard your podcast, and I was like, oh, he sounds lovely. So I reached out to you, and then... Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's very, very interesting. Like I said earlier, there are a few things that I get asked all the time. Number one, is Morocco safe for female solo travelers? This is the number one question that I get. Then the second one, what do I wear when I get to Morocco? And my answers are always the same. It is safe, and you can dress up, the way that you like and whatever makes you comfortable. So I'm going to ask you the same two questions. Please, Kyle, how did you feel in terms of safety in Morocco?
I mean, I think I felt safe. That's the quick answer. I felt just nervous when I got there because it was so foreign for me, so different. I don't speak Arabic or French, so I don't speak either of the languages, but enough people spoke enough English that we were able to get by. But honestly, Azdean, so Noor is the person that you connected me with for my trip, and Noor met me at the airport. And as much as I didn't want to get a guide or driver, I felt relieved when I got to the airport that someone was meeting me there. And he was just so lovely immediately. So I felt safe because I was with Noor a lot of the time, but even I would walk by myself in the new city. There's times where I walked in the Medina by myself and I felt fine, I mean, I felt like maybe I stood out, but I don't really think I did. I think that's just a neurotic feeling.
And in terms of clothing, were you surprised with that people were dressed up, or the culture in Morocco, or the people in Morocco, or were you comfortable in your own clothes, for example, Kyle?
Yeah, I was very comfortable. And I had read cover your arms and your legs. But I saw people wear it. You felt like you were in a major city, and in a city, you're going to see people dressed all the ways.
Absolutely.
I didn't feel nervous. I was thoughtful. I wasn't, but I basically dressed how I dress at home.
Thank you. Because I said the same thing to a lot of people, because it is a major concern when it comes to safety, again, for solo female travelers. to Morocco. Your trip, I know the time that you got to Morocco, I left Morocco, so I didn't get a chance to meet you.
Yeah.
And I traveled Christmas Eve, and it was one of the best days to travel for me because everything was empty, the airplane, airports. It was a lot of fun. So, but the time that it got to Morocco, it's the beginning of the little bit of the chaos because Morocco hosted the African Cup of Nations. And again, it's in December. And I always tell people, if you want to book Morocco in December, you have to do it a minimum of 6 to 9 months to be comfortable. So how was that experience for you, especially being in Marrakech? And Marrakech, it's always happening. It's always busy. So can you just let us and let the audience know, the vibe, the atmosphere, the energy during that time you visited Marrakech?
Yeah, it almost makes me want to cry. I'm surprised. I'm actually feeling a little emotional right now because what I've said about Marrakech is that it is so alive. I felt so alive there. I felt the energy was so alive. And I think it was extra because of the Africa Cup of Nations. But just like all the scooters and the cars. Yes. And that was like, I will say, that was at first scary for me to be a pedestrian. But like after a few days, I was like, I was crossing the street on my own. And if it was a really crazy intersection, what I would do is I would like stand really close to a local person and just cross when they cross, just because the traffic is chaotic. But no, so what happened for me is that I have a friend of a friend who is Moroccan, and her name is Fatiha. And Fatiha was in Marrakech. She lives in Boston, but she was in Marrakech. And so we met up a bunch, and we went to the soccer games together. We went to the cafes to watch the
games. Oh my gosh, that is an amazing experience. Tell us.
It was so much fun. I've always wanted to get into soccer. I played sports in college. I played field hockey, which is actually a little similar to soccer in the strategy. And I was going to come back from the Atlas Mountains. Nora and I went on a day trip to the Atlas Mountains. And I was texting with Fatia, and there was a game that night. She's like, "Are you going to come out to watch the game?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, you have to get a jersey." So I got a Hakimi jersey in the Atlas Mountains. Is where I bought my jersey. And I just going to the games and like seeing everyone's passion and just pride. I think that's another thing I felt about Morocco and about Marrakech. People felt so proud of where they're from. And so proud of their city. And I saw it through the soccer, but like I saw it even without the soccer. I just felt like this pride and love for their own country. For me, that was especially nice because right now, as an American, and what's happening in our government is very, very, very upsetting to me, to put it mildly. And so I felt like when people asked where I was from, I would say America. And Moroccans were they're like, "Oh, America, we love you." Yeah. And because I feel ashamed of my country right now, it was just really nice to see a country that could be proud of itself. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I totally agree. The other thing that I tell a lot of people, just to help you blend in and just fit in, is one of those jerseys, because Morocco, soccer in Morocco, especially men and women, are doing just amazing. So when you wear one of those jerseys, you automatically look cool. So that's just the vibe. I mean, the people look at you, they'll high five you, they'll just give you hugs. It's really, really incredible. And again, going back to the pride, and I totally agree with you, Carla, and I felt it. And I attended the game as well, not at the stadium, but just at the cafe. But the atmosphere in the cafe, it's just incredible. And this is one of the things that a lot of people don't get to experience. Even some of us, when we travel to Morocco, the African Cup, it's an amazing event. And then after the game ends, it's like a magnetic hub that everybody goes to. And where they gather, that's where your hotel is.
Yes, that so happened that my hotel was right where people gather after the celebration. And so like the cafe wasn't far from my hotel where we watched the games. But when we'd come back, the streets were just filled with scooters and people like screaming and yelling and honking their horns. It was so magical.
Yeah, it feels incredible. It really does. And I got a chance to witness it as well. One of the things that I really liked is the police officers. They did such an amazing job organizing the traffic, calming down the people, just being nice, which is a really, really good sign. So it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. Then I gave you a word and said, hey, just be careful. It's your hotel is going to be, I mean, you can watch everything from your room, but the ground is just going to be packed. So, and it stays that way for a long time. Now, the other question that I have, I know that you kind of went to the game, to the stadium, and watched the game. How was that experience?
It was so fun. I initially, so I went to a game between Gabon and Ivory Coast. This was on New Year's Eve. This is what I did with my New Year's Eve, my solo New Year's Eve. And it was so much fun. But even walking in there when Noor dropped me off, I was like so scared I was going to get lost. There were so many people. But I will say the security for those games was like, you had to go through so many different checkpoints. I couldn't believe the security. And then just a little story about how kind people are there. So I got to the gate and they're like, you can't bring water bottle in. And I was like, well, you mean even if it's empty? They're like, yeah, you can't take it in. So they said, we'll take it for you and you can come get it after the game. And I'm like, there's thousands of people. How am I possibly going to get this water bottle back? And I liked it. It was a good water bottle. And so after the game, I slowly, they said, just make sure to come back to gate D. And I slowly wind my way back. And I see this group of people standing at the gate. They all worked there. And they recognized me. And they're water bottle. And I was like, I will always cherish that water bottle. It was just such a kind thing that they remembered, and the thousands of people that were there, or I don't know how many people were there, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
I felt
amazing.
very cared for.
Absolutely, absolutely. The other thing that I wanted to ask you, Kyle, please, you only stayed in Marrakech. Why? Especially in December. And the reason is because you booked a hotel on your own, which is incredible because it was very last minute. And that, when you reached out to me, it's like, hey, this could be yes, it could be a no, but I'll do the best that I can. So when you said I booked the hotel, it was a relief for me because a lot of accommodations, they want to book you for 3 or 4 days minimum, especially, the holidays, Christmas, New Year's. When did you book your hotel in Marrakech? And did you have an opportunity to travel through Morocco, or you just wanted to stay just in one place?
Yeah. So I was FaceTiming with my brother when I was going to buy my ticket to Morocco, and I was really nervous. I was really a solo trip. I was just really nervous. So my brother was on FaceTime with me, and I'm like, okay, I'm hitting push, I'm sending. So as soon as I bought the ticket, he said, okay, Kyle, now you have to get a hotel by tonight. And I was like, what? I don't need to rush. And this really was probably about 4 or 5 weeks before I went.
Wow.
So yeah, I guess I got lucky because of the Africa Cup. You told me that it was pretty booked up. So he did the research for me, and he just picked the hotel, and I was like, fine, I'll do that. And he said, you can always change your reservation if you find another place. But I went with the hotel I went with. It was lovely. The reason I decided so for me, because of my chronic health issues, it was still a big push to do this trip.
Absolutely.
And I felt like going abroad like this, going to Africa, I felt like, let's just go and pretty much stay in one place. Let's have our first trip abroad be where we're not changing places every 2 days. And so that's what I did. I took a couple day trips. We were supposed to have a third day trip, but the weather made that.
Yeah, the weather, yes, I remember.
To the coast. But it was perfect. And I got to really I got to the Medina so many times,
Yes.
And so just so people know, the Medina is the old city, and the souks, the marketplaces,
Yes.
which are wild, and the music in the square at night. At first, that was very overwhelming for me, that whole scene. But I just noticed day after day, I'm like, I want to go back. I want to go back to the Medina. So I'm just so glad I had that much time in Marrakech to just go back over and over to the Medina and the square and the juices and the
Oh my gosh, yes.
amazing crafts that are there, the colors, the photography.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's the Medina, I go to it as much as I can. The square, it's really, really addictive, and I do agree with you, Carl. It is very addictive. And the thing is, when you're trying to go, it has so many exits that each one takes you to a completely different neighborhood. So you can go left, go middle, go right, go to this side. every time you go, there's something to explore. And you're right. The smell, the aroma, right before the night falls, and everybody's getting ready for the street food, and it's very delicious, and it gets really, really packed. And then the hustle and the bustle, people are coming to you, from far and say, hey, come sit and let's try this. Let's chicken, beef, lamb. Let's go. They just bring you to their table. So, the hustle bustle, that's really what makes the Jam Fitness Square really, really amazing. Then the shops are just incredible. The merchandise that they have, the product, and it changes all the time. Even the souvenirs, it could be $1, $10, $5. Every time I go, there's something new, something trendy. So you definitely buy something. You have to be blind not to buy anything. It just looks really, really nice. And again, you being interior designer, it's like going to a museum, if you would.
Yeah.
There's so much
It's
stuff
like
to
a
see.
candy shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not at all. And I want to say something, Azdean, because this is something I read about before I went. People talk about the bargaining, and I bargained a little, but I didn't bargain a lot because I was like, I know where I come from. People have a lot of resources, and I'm like, this is people's living, and I can pay a little. I can pay more, So I didn't do a whole. I think people are overwhelmed by the whole. You have to bargain. You have to bargain. I did a little bit, but not a lot. So
it's still good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because everybody expects you to bargain,
Right.
You've heard the stories from the travelers here at the podcast. You felt the rhythm of the Medina through your headphones. And now I want to personally welcome you into the fray. I am hosting an exclusive small group Imperial Series tour for just 12 of our listeners. 8 days of deep culture, hidden gems, and the Morocco I know by heart. This isn't just a tour. It is a seat at our table. Space is very limited, so visit destinationsmorocco.com and book your spot today. So one thing that this season that I have witnessed being there in November and December is the weather pattern. It felt unseasonably cold in November and December. Then when I left, and the weather kind of got a little bit worse, and it changed your itinerary. So everything that we had planned had to change. So how did we manage that? How did Noor manage all the changes? I know you went to Imlil, to the outskirts of Marrakech with a little bit of hiking and Berber family. Then Ourika Valley, and I know Sora was going to happen, but then it didn't happen. Then the hot air balloon and then the Agafai. So how did we do with those last minute changes? I know it's can be sometimes disappointing, Kyle. So walk us through that experience, please.
Sure. Yeah. No, the first weekend that I was there, it was pouring rain the first couple of days, and that was hard. I was sad about that. But so we even did some changing in the itinerary then of what we were doing. And poor Noor, at first I was like, I want to change all the things. I'm like, I don't even want to commit to anything. I was a little bit of a handful at first. And he was so patient with me and so really just wanted me to have the best time. He was just so flexible. And even on New Year's Eve, that was not on the itinerary for me to go to a game. So he had to take me on his New Year's Eve and drop me off and wait for me and pick me up, and it was so generous.
Thank you.
He was just so kind. I love Noor very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I think what was really, really helpful is that you guys did put together an itinerary. And so it gave me a starting place to land. And what was also really helpful is when we had to make changes, whether it was to the cooking class or the hammam, Noor was the one who was able to communicate easily with people. That would have been really hard for me because I didn't speak Arabic or French. So just having someone who can coordinate things and make sure that, and getting around the Medina, I would have had no idea where I was or how to get anywhere. I mean, I did eventually be you know what? I want to take a day just for myself where I do get lost in the Medina, and I did, and it was great. And it was perfect. Yeah.
I know the feeling of getting lost. Sometimes I got lost in Marrakech as well. And, it's funny because I really laughed. It was okay, I like it, but the good thing about it is I find my way back, and it's like, okay, this was fun, so I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I tell the audience all the time, for the first time visiting a new destination, whether it's in somewhere in Africa, Europe, Asia, it's really important to have a local guide with you. The second time, if you're going, I would say it's an option. It's up to you. But the first time, because they really, really make or break your tour. Like you said, you can easily get lost in the Medina. It's the largest square in Africa. So having a local guide, very important for the tour. So, and then, like you said, they take care of the communication for you. They take care of everything from A to Z. All the planning, we were very fortunate. Even with the weather, it's because it was one city, because we didn't have to change, from city to city. Then we had to cancel reservations at hotels or Riyadh. So, being in one city was perfect for us in terms of the logistics. And that's one thing that a lot of people, when they travel, they don't see what's behind the scene. But you had a chance to see what's behind the scene and how things really go. It's on the fly. It's right there. You have somebody with you was assigned to you 24/7. If it was not, it would have been somebody else. But then there's always somebody, I may not get in touch with you, but I'm aware of everything that it's happening. We stay in contact on a daily basis and say, hey, what happened? Oh, you know what? We had to cancel a Gafai. Or you know what? Maybe a Gafai will probably be back in the picture. We're still working on it. So, but that's what makes it fun, the back and forth and the back and forth. And it's an amazing experience at the end.
Also, Azdean, I wanted to say, as a someone traveling solo, honestly, I think Noor made all the difference for my trip, because we became friends,
Absolutely.
and like I felt like I had a friend in Morocco, in addition to the other friend of a friend who I had there. It just felt, I was afraid I was going to have a lot of loneliness, and but Noor and I just had so much fun together. Like, we laughed a lot and just had so much to chat about. So I just really recommend it for someone who's traveling solo.
Thank you.
I never would have known that that's how that goes.
Yes, and it's so funny because we talk about solo travelers all the time, but I always say, even though when you're traveling by yourself, you're not alone.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, there's always somebody with you, either your local guide for a few hours, maybe half a day, maybe a full day, but then you have, your current driver are available to you all the time. And we don't put a limit on the current driver and say, hey, 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. No, it stays open, because we know, things can happen. So
there might be an Africa World Cup game.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm so glad to hear that. And I always tell a lot of travelers that, the most difficult part about being in Morocco is leaving Morocco, because it's really, really hard to say goodbye. And, not knowing whether you're going to see that person again or not. But, you have a friend at that location, that city, or that country. So How was it for you, Kyle?
Oh, I felt very sad to leave. I was very sad to leave. And when I got home, I felt sad for a few days. Instead of being just excited about this trip, I just felt like, oh, life is so boring when you're not in Marrakech. That's what I felt like. Where's the fun? Where's the excitement? So I do think about going back. I do know now that for me, traveling over Christmas is the way to handle my holiday blues. It totally changed it. I was just not even thinking about the fact that it was the holidays. I was just having this amazing time. And I do think about next year, do I want to go back to Morocco and go to the Sahara?
Oh, yeah.
Go to Essaouira and go,
Yes.
do the travel around thing now that I've done the Marrakech thing.
Absolutely.
So I do think about that. I have to decide, is it Morocco, or do I go someplace totally new, Yeah.
I would say check with your brothers. Then let you know, go back to Morocco.
It's
so much fun.
I just want to say, one of the things I was so struck about Moroccan people was just the kindness. This is a small example. The roads are crazy, as you know.
Yes.
There was this one time when Noor just let a scooter go or something, or and the guy on the scooter just put his hand on his heart.
Yeah.
Just pointed at Noor to say thank you. And the way men are in Morocco is so different than men in this country, hugging and kissing
Yes.
and affectionate and loving and with each other, and seeing women on scooter, it changed what I thought about women in Arab countries, what they can do, and what, It's just you all are lovely people. Really lovely
Thank you,
people.
thank you. Yeah, it's a little different culture, and women in Morocco are incredibly powerful, and you'll see their power, especially when you go to the mountains, when you go to the villages. They are everything.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yes. Yes. It was
The
very
men are just tourists, but the wives, they hold everything together and they do everything. So, and I feel that that's something that not a lot of people talk about, not a lot of people acknowledge. But so then when you look at the government, there's a lot of women that have really good and high positions in the government. So in that regards to women in Morocco, they're really doing well in so many different
I
levels.
saw women on scooter, like just hang, I mean, just like, yeah, the women seem very strong, like really present and strong.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we get close to the end of this incredible episode, Carl, I'm very grateful for your time. Is there something that I should have asked you, but I didn't or forgot to ask you, please?
I mean, I think the only thing I will say is like my trip felt like such a balance of all the things I wanted to get from it. There was art and shopping, and culture and food, and it was just like a really beautiful balance. So you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
And I'm just very, very grateful that I get to
Thank
meet
you.
you and Noor.
Thank you, thank you. We feel the same way. We're very grateful for you. And I always tell people, if you go into Morocco, you're going to have a lot of fun. If you go with us, it's a privilege, and that's how we see it all the time. We love the country. I believe we are really good ambassadors to Morocco. And the tourism in Morocco is changing. Hosting the African Cup of Nations is not a small task. We have other events that are big. The biggest one is in 2030, which is the World Cup, again, which is just massive. So it's going to be Morocco, Spain, and Portugal. And, we're talking about security and checkpoints. That's something that you see even within the city. There are checkpoints everywhere you go. Then when you go outside, for example, you went to Emlil, you see the checkpoints between a city and a village, 3 or 4 checkpoints, because the police, the government, they're on top of everything. So, and they are aware. So any advice that you have for solo travelers, Kyle, or female travelers going to Morocco for the first time, thinking about it's like, it's in Africa, it's a Muslim country, it's a foreign country, I'm really scared. Do I need to dress up, like in a veil or cover myself up? What would you tell somebody?
I would say Marrakech, and I can't speak for all of Morocco, but Marrakech is a perfectly safe, comfortable place for a Western woman. I felt safe. And the other thing that was really cool for me, that to speak to the Muslim part of it, I hadn't spent time in a Muslim country before, and hearing the call to prayer 5 times a day was so beautiful. And, certain people in the shops, some people in the shops would close down for prayer time, some people would not. But just for all the reasons you're saying, foreign, Muslim, Arabic, that's what made it a really magical trip, is that it was so different from where I'm from. And that made it extra special. I can't recommend solo travel for women enough.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you. Now we almost covered everything, and I forgot. How was your food experience? I know food is big in Morocco. How was your food experience, please, Kyle?
It was delicious. I will say I was extra careful because I know that they sometimes say like don't eat the raw salads as a traveler, and I was pretty careful. But that doesn't mean I still didn't get to really enjoy. I fell in love with tagines. I had so many delicious tagines and couscous, and the food was amazing. So good.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, I just remember, did you get a chance to have a little bit of nightlife in Marrakech? Did you get a chance to experience it? I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. One time, this was really funny. My friend Fatiha, who was there, so one night she texted and said, me and this other friend, Talib, we're going to go at 11 o'clock for dinner and a show. And I was with Noor when this text came in. I was like, 11 o'clock? That's really late. And he's like, you're going. Because they had like belly dancing. And so that, I can't remember the name of the place. I could find out. So that was amazing. And then we went to that restaurant that you guys had on the itinerary. What was it? Fassia?
The Fassia, yes.
Yeah. And that I ended up, that was another way that you guys adjusted, because I was going to just have a reservation for one. And I said, oh, I want to bring my other two friends with me. So we made the reservation for three, and I got to share that experience with them. And I went to a Ganawan concert. So yeah, I really took part. And I'm going this Saturday in Boston. I'm going to a Ganawan concert.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
I
gosh.
can't remember who the musician is right now, but I'm going to go to that. So
Yeah, it's Gnawa music. It's really, really addictive for a lot of people. I remember when I went to Essaouira for a Gnawa, a small festival, very private. And, we grew up listening to Gnawa music, and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, Gnawa. But then when I went, and it was like, oh, hold on, what's happening? You really get into it, and then it becomes kind of, spiritual, then it gets kind of wild, crazy, fun. And I loved every second of it. So it's really, really magical if you have a chance to experience it.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you sharing your story with us and the audience today. Super grateful for your time. Thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. Have a wonderful day.
Thank
you. Oh my gosh. Are you looking for a personalized Moroccan experience? Merhaba, and welcome to Destinations Morocco. I am your host, Azdean al-Mustaki. Our family-run company crafts private and small group tours to my beautiful homeland. We encourage you to choose your own adventure. Let us know what you would like to see, what you would like to do, and how you would like to experience it. We put together a tour based on your interests and priorities. The podcast is here to help you find ideas and inspirations. Let us plan your perfect Moroccan tour. Schedule a free 30-minute discovery call today at destinationsmorocco.com.